The chipped mug warmed my hand, the coffee doing little to soothe the icy knot in my stomach. Laura, my wife of 10 years, hummed in the kitchen, a chirpy melody that grated on my nerves like fingernails on a chalkboard. "Morning, sunshine," she chirped, sliding onto the stool beside me, her smile radiating a sickeningly sweet innocence. "Morning," I replied, my voice flat. I couldn't look at her. Not yet. "Big presentation today, right?" she asked, reaching for the newspaper. "You'll nail it, honey. You always do." The irony wasn't lost on me. Honesty. She'd actually lectured me about honesty just last week, her eyes wide with faux sincerity. "It's the foundation of any strong relationship, David," she'd said, her hand resting on mine, a touch that now felt like a viper's caress. I took a deep breath. "Laura," I began, my voice trembling slightly, "there's something we need to talk about." She lowered the newspaper, her brow furrowing with faint con. "What is it, honey?" "You seem tense." Tense. I scoffed, the sound raw and unfamiliar even to my own ears. I'd say that's an understatement. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a thick stack of papers, the weight of them mirroring the burden I'd been carrying for weeks. "What's that?" she asked, her voice laced with a hint of apprehension. "These," I said, holding them up, "are printed copies of your emails, the ones you thought you cleverly deleted." Her face paled, the color drained from her cheeks, leaving her looking like a ghost of the woman I'd loved. I don't understand," she stammered, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. "Oh, I think you do," I said, my voice hardening. "These emails, my dear, tell a very interesting story, a story of deceit, betrayal, and honesty." I emphasized the last word, mimicking her sanctimonious tone. I began to read, my voice loud and clear, each word a hammer blow against the fragile facade of her innocence. The emails exchanged with a man named Juan, her colleague, painted a vivid picture of their affair. They spoke of stolen kisses in dimly lit bars, whispered promises in hotel rooms, their contempt for my obliviousness dripping from every line. As I read, Laura's composure crumbled. Her carefully constructed mass of innocence shattered into a million pieces. Her hands flew to her mouth, her eyes widening in horror. By the time I reached the email detailing their weekend getaway, the one that coincided with my business trip to Chicago, she was sobbing, her body shaking uncontrollably. She slid off the stool, landing on her knees, begging me to stop. But I couldn't stop. I needed her to hear it all. I needed her to understand the depth of her betrayal. I needed to reclaim the power she'd stolen from me. When I finished, the silence in the kitchen was deafening. Laura remained on the floor, a broken, whimpering mess. I looked down at her, a strange mixture of pity and disgust swirling within me. "How could you?" I whispered, the question hanging heavy in the air. She didn't answer. She couldn't. I left her there, amidst the wreckage of her lies, and drove to Juan's office. I found him in a meeting, his smug face plastered with a fake smile. I didn't wait for an invitation. I barged in, the door crashing against the wall, the startled faces of his colleagues turning toward me. "Juan," I said, my voice low and menacing, "we need to talk." He recognized me instantly, the blood drained from his face, his smile vanishing as if wiped away by an unseen hand. I grabbed him by the collar, dragging him out of the room, ignoring the protests of his colleagues. I shoved him against the wall in the hallway, my hands clenched into fists. "You think you can get away with this?" I snarled, my voice dripping with venom. He stammered, trying to form words, but nothing came out. He was terrified, and the sight of his fear filled me with a cold satisfaction. "You destroyed my marriage," I continued, my voice rising with each word. "You betrayed my trust, and now you're going to pay." I didn't physically hurt him. I didn't need to. The public humiliation, the exposure of his affair in front of his colleagues, was enough. His reputation, his career, everything he'd worked for was crumbling around him, just like Laura. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and the agonizing process of disentangling my life from Laura's. The house, filled with a decade of memories, now felt like a tomb. I sold it, along with everything we'd accumulated together, and started over. It wasn't easy. The pain of betrayal lingered, a dull ache in my chest, but I refused to let it define me. I focused on my work, on rebuilding my life brick by painful brick. I found solace and support my friends and family, who rallied around me, offering a lifeline in the turbulent waters of my grief. One evening, months later, I was sitting in a quiet bar, nursing a beer, when I saw her, Laura. She was sitting alone at a table in the corner, her eyes red and swollen, her face edged with a weariness that went beyond physical exhaustion. She saw me too. Our eyes met across the crowded room, and for a moment, we were suspended in time, the ghosts of our past lives hovering between us. She looked away first, her gaze dropping to the table, her shoulders slumping in defeat. I didn't approach her. I didn't need to. I knew in that moment that she was paying the price for her choices. Her world had crashed down around her, just as I had predicted. And while a part of me felt a flicker of satisfaction, another part felt a pang of sadness for the woman she had been, the woman I had loved, and the life we had lost. I finished my beer, paid my tab, and walked out into the night, leaving her behind, a solitary figure in the dimly lit bar, a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of betrayal. The icy knot in my stomach had finally thawed, replaced by a quiet sense of resolve. I was moving on. I was free.